Hey everybody, my name is Heather. I'm gonna start doing videos for YouTube. Um, I'm trying to get off TikTok, and just use this as a platform for me to, express how I feel, the things that went on in my life, give, updates, because a lot of things in 2026 are going to be happening, and I just wanted to really have a channel that I can look back on and see how far I've came, because everybody has their own opinion about me, and that's fine. People can have their opinions. But I'm gonna start from the beginning. I am a mom of 6 beautiful children. I do not speak to all of them, but I do get to talk to my 2 boys, Jax and Henry. Those 2 are and were very close to their mom. A lot of toxic stuff has happened and made both of them really not like me. And I blame their own sisters for that. 2 sisters anyways. But so basically, I'm just gonna start making videos about my life, about where I've all been, just put up videos of, showing my day-to-day life and how I'm doing, my important things that I do in my life, the new things that are going to be happening in 2026, just everything that you would put on social media, TikTok, whatever. I'm just going to put it all on YouTube, and just let my following grow. And, I find this talking about my things that I've went through, really therapeutic. And yeah, so I'm gonna start from the beginning. I got pregnant at 17 and had my daughter. She now is 23, and she has 4 kids of her own. She got pregnant at 15, and I helped her with her daughter. I got married and was married for 12 years, and then I filed for divorce. The reason I filed for divorce was due to the physical abuse that I had to go through. I was in a very toxic relationship, and the abuse went from me to my kids, and I'm not afraid to say I called DHS on him many times, but you know what, DHS didn't do anything. They didn't. And as my story goes on, you'll understand my hatred for them and what they did and have done to me. But anyways, back to that. I got pregnant with a set of twins. They are 19 now. They live on their own or with their boyfriends. After I had them, they were about 2 years old, and they had left crumbs on the couch, and I had to get going to one of their appointments So I didn't have time to clean it right then and there. So when I got home, my ex-husband had woke up and found that mess. And he was, like, very angry. Like, I mean, very angry. I'm like, you can just brush it on the floor and vacuum it. And I showed him that. Well, he got really mad and he threw me up against the wall. Well, when he threw me against the wall, it was my back. So my back hit the wall and the whole wall where I fell broke out around my body. So that started some issues for me. And as I go on in my story, you'll understand more on why I have that issue with my back. Just remember that part. And then we moved to, we were living out in the country, we moved to a house in Hartley, like in town. And I got pregnant with my first son, Hudson. And he is 12. And after I had him, you know, I was really hesitant on having any more. But then I got to thinking, okay, I'll try for one more. You know, just praying that he has, like, a brother. We started trying, but I found out before we started trying, I already found out I was pregnant. So he was only 10 months old. And he had to go to therapy a lot and do different kinds of therapy because he had torticollis and his head shape was different and all that other stuff. Well, so he was 18 months old when I had his brother Henry. Henry now is 10. He will be 11 in March. And Henry was like my last baby. Like, I didn't want any more after that. Like, he was my last baby, and I made well aware of that. And so I just raised the kids. Didn't work, couldn't afford daycare. I ended up having to homeschool one of my daughters because she was bullied in school by the guidance counselor and the teacher. So I homeschooled her up for a whole year. And then the next year she went to back to school, and I did not homeschool her. Keep that also in mind. So I'm going on, and, you know, I'm living my life, and my ex is just he's so lazy. Like, I couldn't leave to go anywhere. My kids went with me 24/7. And, you know, everyone was, I guess, supposedly from my other ex, they were talking bad about how I look good and my kids look like crap. That is not whatsoever true at all. My kids were always properly dressed. They went through a stage where I let them pick their own clothes. Like, I didn't dress the twins matching anymore because they are two separate individuals. So I let them dress themselves. Sometimes they matched each other and sometimes they didn't. That's just how things are. And so I had my 3 girls and my 2 boys. And then in August of 2018, I decided it was best for me just to move out. And the reason why I moved out to a different place is because every time that I would go to my parents' house, they would push me back with my ex. And it wasn't helping anything. I mean, my ex got so mad towards, last Father Day, so that June of 2028, he got so mad, he threw Jaden off the back steps, which is a huge drop. I thought my daughter was dead. I'm not even gonna lie. And I went and I checked on her, and her sister was down there, and she had a hold of Henry and her daughter, because her daughter was only 2 months old. So she had her daughter, and I had, you know, she had Henry and Hudson were down there too. And because I told him to get off the step after he did that. And I kind of just told the girls to go pack their bags. And I went to walk around the side of the house, and he followed me. And I let him have it. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to sit here and lie and say I didn't do anything, because I did. I grabbed him around the neck and I threw him against our house. And I said, if you ever touch one of my kids again, it is going to be hell for you. Well, after that, and after my mom finding out about the bruises across Jaden's bottom from Robbie hitting her or my ex hitting her across the butt with a 2x4, I just had enough. So in 2018, I moved out of August 2018. Well, the plan was I was supposed to go and move into this house, and this guy volunteered to let me live there, and he'd pay the bills until I got on my feet. Well, that didn't happen. He didn't leave to go live somewhere else. He lived there too. So we started dating and stuff, and I filed for divorce. I filed first. I filed for divorce. I had my kids with me. It was good for a few months. From August to like February, maybe. It was good. It was rocky, because he had never had kids. And I didn't know this at the time, but he had just gotten out of prison. So, yeah. I knew of him when I was, like, way younger. I was 21 and he was 17. So I knew of him, but I didn't know all the trouble that he had been in. So I moved in with him, and he started mistreating my son, and DHS got called, and I lost my kids. And we had to get rid of his dog, because his dog would attack my son. Well, see, my son had a lot of issues, and I tried to explain that to him, but that was never good enough. Like, no, I know what it's like. And I'm like, no, you don't know what it's like. You don't know what I live with day to day. And he's like, well, he's not going to do that stuff to me, or this stuff in my house. So he started being really mean to my son, Hudson. And finally, I just sat Hudson down alone, and I said, buddy, I need to know what you want to do. He goes, I want to see my dad. I'm like, okay, that's fine. You can go see your dad. And I let him go, and he had fun, and he didn't want to come back. So I agreed to let Hudson live with his dad. I did that for the protection, the safety of my son. I did not do that because I did not love him. I did that because I loved him enough to let him and get him out of the situation, and placing him with his dad was the best option. So people talking about how I gave up on him and I don't care about him is not true whatsoever. Because every holiday, Christmas, no matter what it was, he always got gifts. I would mail him things all the time. But anyways, then we got the kids back. Found out, like, my kids were all saying, like, yeah, Mom, you act like you're pregnant. Mom, you act like you're pregnant. I'm like, I am not pregnant, you guys. Like, I am not pregnant. And they're like, you act just like you did when you were pregnant with the boys. So I went to the dollar store after I got the girls to school. and whatnot. And I took a pregnancy test just to prove them wrong. Well, I proved myself wrong because it came out positive. I was pregnant again. And I was really praying it would be a little girl. But it came out to be a boy. And that would be Jax. And his dad is a huge narcissist. I have video proof of him threatening to kill my 12-year-old daughter. I have so much more to my story that people really don't understand. And it's not easy to talk about this, but I'm at the position where I can. So we go on to keep going and whatnot. And we keep going in our relationship. Had Jax, and I went through a lot of surgeries in one when I had him, because when I had him, my bladder ripped in half. And you know, like, I kept being like on his dad's butt about showing me like that he loves me and affection. And he said I needed to deserve it. And it was hard. It was a very emotional, mental thing that I had to go through. But the thing is I've already had to go through that. I went through that with my ex-husband. I went through that in my childhood. And it's like trauma after trauma after trauma after trauma. So now, here I am, not with either dad. DHS gets involved multiple times when I was with my ex. And now my boys live with their dads. It's not right. DHS did me wrong. And I'm doing something about it. I'm not gonna let how they treated me and what they all did to me and how many drug tests I had to take. I voluntarily went to the doctor after being accused of being on drugs. I went to my doctor the next day and did a drug test. And then they still came and did a drug test by cutting my hair and then doing one on my saliva. Like, they ran me through the mud knowing that I have been through that trauma, and I tried to tell them that my boys would not be okay where they're living, and my son Jax is not okay where he is living. His dad has beat my children. He beat Hudson. He wrapped him up in a garbage bag, had him sleeping on the floor, wouldn't let him go to the bathroom. He peed his pants. Like, I'm done. I'm done hiding the truth from everybody. Like, I'm just done. Like, it is not okay. It is not fair. And I'm doing this because I need to do what's right. And I hope DHS finds this video. I hope someone's stupid enough to send it to them. Because they're going to realize that Miles should not have my son. And I hope that DHS finds this. Because I need the truth out. I'm not going to hide anymore. He needs to be punished for what he's done to my kids. And mentally, emotionally, and financially did to me. Because every time that I would get a tax return, he would put it in his account. Because I owed him money. Even though I worked, I owed him money. So all of my tax returns went to him. I didn't get anything. He's like, you can just use my card to get what you want. I'll buy it and take it off of what you owe me. Okay, then you can give me back my car seat that I bought for him, my stroller I bought for him. Like, if we really want to get technical, like, I can make a list. There was a list that DHS was supposed to get my belongings that I had bought, and that I came to with that into that relationship from my ex-husband. I came with certain things, and I did not get any of them back. He kept them. So, that's coming up to, like, how my kids came about. And how my kids hate me for what has happened and what's went on, okay? That's been years ago. I have broke the codependent on a male. I have broke the cycle of trauma. And I've done a lot to make me who I am today. And I do have back issues. I have really bad back issues. I do. I'm not going to lie about it. And that all stems from when I was through the wall. And everyone can sit here and they can judge me and they can say, no, that didn't happen. Like, you never had back issues. You know what? I have a high tolerance for pain. So I didn't let it really affect me until after I had Jax. Because Jax was the hardest pregnancy I've ever had. I was in excruciating pain all the time. And there was a reason for that. And when they did my C-section, they found the reason. So, therefore, yes, my back is damaged. I do have a lot wrong with my back. I have had this past year, between March and April, I have had a normal MRI, and then another MRI, and then another MRI with contrast, and then I had a brain MRI without contrast, and a brain MRI with contrast. I've had 5 MRIs from April to March. Or March to April. So yeah, like, my back issue is not a fake thing. I wish it was. I can't stand more than 5-10 minutes. And if I do, my knees have to be bent. Like, I can't stand straight up. My back doesn't let me. I have fluid-filled pockets on my spine. I have vertebrae in my spine that are not in line. I have deteriorated discs. I have bulging discs. I have my right ligament that has been partly torn. And it's really rough and jagged. It's not smooth like my left one. So the one with my right is the one that it's on my right side. When I had Jax, my bladder ripped in half, and I had to have a catheter for 2 weeks at home. I had to have surgery and have a battery put in my back to control my bladder, because the muscles and everything were torn. I had to have an emergency hysterectomy because after I had my son, I was hemorrhaging, like dropping my iron, hemorrhaging, and they wanted to wait until he was at least 6 months old, and I couldn't make it. So I had to have a hysterectomy. which emotionally and mentally was really hard. I knew I was done having kids, but the part that carried them is no longer part of me, and I feel like a bad mom because like I'm missing that part, so I don't really feel like a mom. And you know, no one really understands what I'm talking about until you go through it. I would love nothing more to have another baby if I was guaranteed it would be a girl. But out of everything that I went through, DHS has labeled me as a bad mom, and that is far from the truth. I am not a bad mom. I love my kids more than anything. I was in bad situations and made the wrong decisions, and I'm not perfect. I could have made better decisions for them, so they didn't have to heal from the trauma. And that's my fault, and I take 100% blame. But the part that bothers me the most is the fact that I'm not who I was when I was in those relationships. I'm not who I was when I left. I'm different. You don't know anything about me. And after all of this, like, I turned to God. Turned to God. Told God, my life is in your hands. Please guide me in the right direction. And that is what I do every day, is pray to God. And talk to God. Because I know that things are getting better and things will get better. So, that's just the start of kind of my journey. I'll hit more in depth on certain things. But I just thought that I would just throw that video out there and show some of my vulnerable side and the stuff that I did go through. Thank you for watching my video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!